Let's talk about Kyle Richards coming clean about the real reason why she and her ex BFF, Dorit Kemsley, are on the outs. And the reason may or may not surprise you. It surprised me, but then it didn't. I mean, I thought it was about the Mauricio and Dorit affair rumors, but allegedly it's about something else. Very on brand for Vile Kyle. So before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. All right, you guys. So this is according to Reality Blurb. It says Kyle Richards is admitting she's no longer close to Dorit Kemsley. After being seen gushing over her friendship with Morgan Wade on this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, stating that their relationship is, quote, very different from her other friends, Kyle said Dorit doesn't feel like a friend as her co stars accused her of morphing into Morgan and replacing her. Now, I do have the clip. It is a sneak peek shared by Bravo, and we will definitely watch the clip. But I want to say first, with Dorit saying that she feels like Kyle is morphing into Morgan and that she's replaced, this is a sentiment that Kyle kind of does. Kyle does tend to morph, whether it's her personality or her looks, into her current BFF. She did it with Teddy. She became very, Teddy has a very masculine energy about her. She kind of had that same disposition. She kind of had the same personality as Teddy. They kind of morphed into each other. They got matching tattoos. They always did everything together, working out together, all of that, being very, very protective, very, very codependent. When Dorit was her, favorite, and they were really close, we saw Kyle kind of morphing into Dorit, doing like the high ponytails and lightening her hair and, trying to dress up and do all the fashions. So I'm not surprised that now Dorit feels replaced and that Kyle is morphing into Morgan, getting the matching tattoos, working out, not drinking, all of that same type of behavior of a person who sort of when somebody starts dating somebody new and they adopt the personality of the person that they're dating, Kyle tends to adopt the personality and the style and looks of her current favorite BFF. Okay. Now, Dorit goes on to say, I feel like I'm an afterthought. I guess I have to put your initials on my body for you to actually care. I mean, literally. Dorit tells Kyle in a sneak peek at the December 20th episode shared by Bravo, giving a nod to Morgan's K tattoo. I mean, Morgan has so many tattoos on her. I was like, what difference does it make? Kyle replies. Still, Dorit is perplexed by the relationship between Kyle and Morgan, which many have suspected is romantic, and notes, I can't believe how good of friends you guys are. Again, I don't think it's romantic. I think that Morgan's team, her publicist, her agents, all of those people put her up to having this sort of relationship or friendship with Kyle to further and push her music career. I think for Kyle, it's her way to escape the crisis that she is currently going through in her own life. Her being on the outs with her family, her best friend taking her own life, the cheating allegations with her husband and not being on good terms. I think that for Kyle, the friendship is an escape. For Morgan, I think it was a contract. She goes, I know people are like, I don't understand this friendship, Kyle responds. Dorit then says that Kyle and Morgan seem to be morphing into one another before correcting herself. You're morphing into her, she tells her castmate. In a confessional, Dorit further explains her feelings towards her status with Kyle. I genuinely feel hurt by this distance between Kyle and I. Kyle and I used to go away once or twice or even more a year. Now I'm not even invited on any of Kyle's trips, she shares. Much of who Kyle has become is a lot like who Morgan is. Where do I fit in? And Kyle's new life feels like I've just been excluded, but maybe even replaced. Meanwhile, in her own confessional, Kyle explains why she hasn't been as close to Dorit. Now, when I saw this, I was shocked, but not surprised. That's what it is. I was shocked Kyle said this, but I wasn't surprised. Here I was being a normal human being thinking, oh, the reason why Kyle isn't close to Dorit is because of the Mauricio cheating allegations. I wouldn't be close to someone, or it could, put a strain on a friendship if the entire world thought my friend was having sex with my husband. I was being a normal person. I needed to put on my Kyle hat because this is how Kyle thinks. Here we go. She says, I really felt disappointed in her. She admits as a flashback scene featured Dorit calling her out over her drama with Kathy Hilton at the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 12 reunion. In private, Dorit has been saying to me, I feel so bad about what you're going through with your sister. And she was really supportive and on my side. And then when we're all together, it was a very different tune that doesn't feel like a friend to me. Listen, let me break that down in case y'all didn't catch it. Basically, Kyle is saying, I no longer mess with Dorit because she was not a yes person to me. Basically, Kyle is saying, I am punishing Dorit. I am distancing myself from Dorit because she didn't say what I wanted her to say when I wanted her to say it. So because Dorit had her own opinion, and because Dorit said that you needed to take a little bit of accountability in the situation with your sister, that is why Kyle has ended the friendship. That is so vindictive. That is so petty. That is so childish. And that is not being a friend. So because Dorit had the audacity to hold you accountable for the role that you have played and the demise of your sisterhood with your sister, you want to ice her out? So unless Dorit is kissing your butt and is being a yes person to you, that's not friendship to you. Mind blown, shocked, but not surprised, because this is who Kyle is. Unless you are her yes person, unless you are her mouthpiece, she becomes the victim and she villainizes you. Crazy. You don't believe me? Let's watch the clip, okay? Now we're going to watch the clip so you can hear it from Kyle's mouth herself and what she explains. Now, if you guys are watching this on the replay and the clip does not show, I apologize. I'm allowed to show this clip due to fair use, but sometimes NBC will take the video down. I just want to give everybody the heads up about that. So hopefully it can stay up because I'm allowed to play it. But all right, let's play it. And for everybody on the live, thank you for being with me because you get to see the video. Here we go.
I forget to tell anybody. I really do.
Literally, I feel like.
So there you have it from the horse's mouth herself. The reason why she distanced herself from Dorit isn't because of the rumor, allegedly, that Dorit and Mauricio were having an affair, but because Dorit had the audacity to ask her to take a little bit of accountability for her own actions. That is so pathetic and sad, and it just really is indicative of who Kyle Richards is. Unless you are her yes person, she's going to villainize you and make herself the victim. I mean, that's insane. And I never thought I would say this, but I'm team Dorit on this one. To me, Dorit really was being a friend. You're struggling, you're going through something in private, you are you know what I mean? You're supporting them, you're there for them. I can't believe you're going through this, all of this, and that and the third. But on the reunion, Dorit is also at work. And a part of being at work, and also a part of being a good friend, is in moments when you can hold your friend accountable in a compassionate way. You do. And I do think that was the moment for Dorit to speak up and say something. I do think that was the moment for Dorit to say, all she is saying is she just wants you to take a little bit of accountability for the role that you played. There's nothing wrong with that. People who are Again, I'm not Anna Marie. I'm not a doctor. She's not a doctor either, but I don't diagnose. But people with narcissistic tendencies, people who have very low emotional intelligence, people who aren't that evolved, think that they live their life in extremes. You are either for me or against me. And they don't know how to embrace the spectrum of support and embrace levels to it. Just because somebody says, hey, maybe you could, think about the role you played, doesn't mean they're not being your friend, doesn't mean they're betraying you, doesn't mean that they're stabbing you in the back, doesn't mean that they don't support you. It means the opposite. Because if somebody actually doesn't care about you, they're not going to waste their breath trying to give you a little bit of awareness and growth so you can actually fix your relationship with your sister. I'm not saying Kathy Hilton is perfect. Nobody on this earth is perfect. But when it comes to this particular situation, Kyle was the one who was dead wrong pretty much across the board. I'm not talking about their past traumas, their past issues. Who the hell knows? That's, Kathy Hilton's like 60. That's 60 years of whatever. I'm not gonna try all of that. I'm talking about this particular situation. Kyle was the one who was wrong. And I do agree with Dorit. She can take a little bit of responsibility. And also, even when you're not wrong, you can still say, well, maybe I could have reacted differently, or maybe I could have listened to you in this way, or I could have done this. In any situation, even if you are the party who was, quote, wronged, there's always moments for reflection and growth, not even for the other person, but for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, I was shocked, but not surprised. Kyle is putting Dorit on ice, not because she smelled her husband, not because the world thinks they smashed, but because she didn't have her back against her big, bad, mean sister, Kathy. Wah, wah, wah. So I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Do you think, nope, Kyle's right, you come against me, you're against me? Or do you think, no, Dorit was actually being your friend and that's no reason to ice her out? Or do you think there's a part of Kyle using that as an excuse, and maybe a little bit more of the real reason is the world thinks you smashed my husband, but I can't bring myself to actually admit that. So let's say the reason why I'm being mad at you is because you didn't have my back with Kathy. It could be some of that as well. It could be a little bit of, I'm not ready to say the real reason why I don't mess with you. So let's just use this as an excuse. So put it down below and let me know what you guys think. But before you do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. All right, you guys. I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat.